a grim picture for higher education.
It's almost 40,000 university jobs.
1/5 of the sector have been lost in the 12 months until May this year.
This was a really predictable and foreseeable outcome as a result of the revenue losses in this sector. The Centre for Future Work partnered with the NTEU to do some research on the impact of COVID on the university sector, particularly staff at universities. And what we found was that in the 12 months leading up to May 2021, 40,000 jobs were lost from the public tertiary education sector, and around about 35,000 of these were from public universities. So it's a huge job loss in the sector as a result of the pandemic, but also the policy responses of the government. Job losses were not evenly distributed across all staff at universities. Some jobs were hit harder than others. Initially, during the first kind of lockdown in 2020, casuals were hit hardest. So obviously, by the nature of a casual employment status, they don't have a lot of job protection, and so these were the jobs that were easiest and quickest to cut. So casuals bore the brunt of the first job losses, but then later in the year in 2020 and early 2021, when universities knew that there wasn't going to be an end to the closure of the international border, but also that they weren't really going to receive any support from the government, they started cutting permanent workers, and 90% of the 40,000 jobs lost were actually permanent jobs in the last year. So, and to kind of fill this staff void that's been left, they've actually started this year rehiring more casuals, which is basically a continuation of a trend of casualisation in the sector. But there was also a gender dimension to these job cuts as well. So of the 40,000 jobs, 61% were women. And this is a huge blow for women because it's a relatively feminized sector. So it really undermines women's economic security more broadly, because this sector really offsets some of the gendered inequality that exists in the labour market for women. Against the backdrop of a worsening gender pay gap, superannuation gap, women losing their jobs more broadly in the economy as a result of the pandemic than men, this is a particularly big blow to women, and it's also a really bad look for the government. This was a really predictable and foreseeable outcome as a result of the revenue losses in this sector. They made a couple of changes to the eligibility criteria of JobKeeper, specifically to exclude the university sector. So not only was it a choice to not support the sector, but they've actually actively prevented the university sector from receiving funding. And this is a really big problem because universities provide value to our economy. They train the future workforce. They are a hub of research and innovation. And particularly this year during COVID, we have realized how much we rely on experts and research to protect people's lives and improve people's safety. So really, this is going to have long-term implications for us as a society.